What is going on, guys? This is Pierre and Chris here at Lav Auto Spa, and today we're going to be showing you guys how to restore your headlights, bring them back to life. So the first step is going to consist of you going ahead and sanding it down to some sort of fair grade where you could go ahead and cut it afterwards. I like to start out with about 1,000 grit sandpaper. I find that that's my happy medium. After I go ahead and do that, we'll go ahead and bump it up to about 1,500 grit sandpaper. Go ahead and smooth out, make it look a lot nicer, and then some people will just opt to move forward, but I like to go ahead and do a 3,000 grit afterwards, really make everything nice and smooth, get it nice and shiny. Last thing you want to do is cut and then polish it. I go ahead and give it a nice cut. Usually you get that done with your 3-inch polisher, whatever you use, Rupes or Max Shine, whatever. Last step, with that same pad, I'll just go ahead and polish it right out. Make sure it's nice and dry, put some sort of wax remover or degreaser remover, so this way we could go ahead and just ceramic coat it afterwards and then have them looking like brand new. So we're gonna go ahead and show you guys the process. Let's get to it. So to start polishing your headlights, you're gonna need a couple things. First thing I recommend is some duct tape. You go ahead and go pick this up from any Home Depot near you or Target or whatever. Second thing I recommend is some microfiber towels. These are so you can clean up your environment and your headlights when you're done. Third thing you're probably gonna need the most is the sandpaper. I'm gonna go ahead and post a link to the one that I got on Amazon. This is a great choice. You get many variety of different grit, all the way from I believe 500 to 3,000. So check that out. Another thing I highly recommend is 3-inch polisher, just because that's like the universal size for headlights. Honestly, I usually use this for most of them. Hardly do I bring out the 1-inch. Yeah, this fits most fog lights, most headlights. Doesn't have to be a Rupes one. It could be any 3-inch polisher. Should get the job done. I recommend using a microfiber pad on the headlights. But yeah. Another thing I recommend is spray bottles. Spray bottles are going to be great for when you're wet sanding. Make sure that you keep the dust down. Another thing I highly recommend is some sort of wiping agent. This is 3D wipe. This is like a prep for ceramic coating. Lastly, I recommend any sort of ceramic coat. Let's go ahead and get into the video. The same technique could be said about the fog lights that we use in this video, but first off, I'm gonna go ahead and start by prepping the car. This car is honestly pretty dirty. I recommend cleaning it usually before, but for this video, we're just gonna clean the headlight. So I like to prep with the tape, so this way we don't scratch any of their nice paint underneath. And I usually like to overlap a little bit. Like if there's a gasket, I'll honestly like shove the tape in there. Christopher's gonna go ahead and clean the headlights on this Genesis. We're just using a detail spray from Jack's Wax. This just so happens to be the Halloween one that they gave us recently. Shout out to them. This is the one out here in El Cajon, San Diego. Make sure you clean the surrounding area too and everything. The fog light, whatever runs down there. So once you got that headlight looking as clean as you can without really doing too much, you're gonna go ahead and grab your sandpaper. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with the 800 grit, just cause these are pretty bad, especially around these areas. Let me zoom in and catch that. Especially that front area and then this top area right here have seen better days. So let's go ahead and get to it. The first thing you wanna do is grab your water. I like to get my piece and cut it in half. This way I can save it for later on. Go ahead and put it on my stool right there. Let's just get this generously wet. And I've noticed that over here it's not too bad, so I'm not gonna apply too much pressure here, just because I feel like it's kind of unnecessary. So I'm gonna focus more on that top part where the sun really hits it. You also want to get your paper pretty wet too. Like just spray down the sheet of paper, and then get to work. Be ready to make a mess. It should get nice and white and foggy, and means that you're doing it right. Top parts, you're seeing it. Different sanding techniques out there. I like to use vertically and horizontally. I'm not a fan of swirling or that sort of deal. Okay, so once that is done, go ahead and clean it off and see where we're at. There's, remember, a lot of oxidation on the top. Go Don't be shy to give it one more pass if you feel like it needs it. I'm going to. Again, like, there is no super right or wrong way. This is just the way I do it. So I'm still seeing some pretty heavy oxidation here, here, and still up here. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it a second pass. And I'm applying with pretty good pressure on these fingers. So. Alright, so you get a lot more dust. Go ahead and spray some more here. This area is already looking a lot better. Like cleaning all this oxidation and sandpaper off of it. Wow. So with sanding, it's kind of supposed to look like this. I don't know if you could see, it's very smooth to the touch. Now we have our 1500 grit sandpaper right here. We are going to start spraying this guy down. Spray down our paper, of course, and get to work. So it should be a lot less resistance, a lot less gunk coming out. And it's honestly looking a lot better. Sideways, if you ask me. So very smooth. So now we have the 3000 grit sandpaper. We're gonna go ahead and do the usual, where we'll douse this puppy down. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab this guy. Alright guys, once you get it to that step where it's looking like kind of foggy or a little hazy, or where Christopher said like, is it me or it looks worse? That's when you bring out this puppy right here. So this guy right here is gonna be your cutting and polishing tool. I'm gonna go ahead and use the last details, the last cut, and the last polish to shine these puppies up right now. So let's get to it. So for those of you not familiar with the process, the first thing you're gonna wanna do is use a cutting agent. I like to use the last cut just because it's what I use around the shop usually, and works beautiful for me. Any kind of cutting agent I believe would work. Let's go ahead and get the pad prepped. I don't normally stress covering too many fibers on these kind of pads just because the plastic is a little bit more resilient than paint. So for this one, I kind of just prep the pad by doing this and just cover the whole pad like that. And then now I will just liberally spread all this compound around. He does have some deeper scratches right there that I see after sanding. I have the polisher at about 5 to 4 speed. I'm just gonna polish this bad boy out. Okay guys, so after about doing, I'd say maybe 3 or 4 passes on this headlight, you could see it is already looking much better. And we're looking good so far. I'd say it looks a lot better than the other side for sure. Watch out, Chris. So that's how you would take your headlight from essentially this . So now we're gonna go ahead and drop the last polish on there, same fashion we did the first time. So I mean, some people switch pads. I'm just gonna use the same one. Add more seasoning. Now we can go ahead and take off the tape at this point, because I'm just gonna go ahead and clean the mess that we made here sanding. Show you, sorry. Boom. So now that is all done. The final step is to go ahead and ceramic coat it. Let's go ahead and get you a 50-50 view of what we're looking at here. Okay guys, so the next step is going to be to ceramic coat the headlight. So after wiping it with your 3D wipe or some sort of wipe to make sure you removed all the polish and compound, you're going to want to go ahead and ceramic coat it. So for the sake of this video, we're going to be using the Jax Wax Shield Pro 9H. Usually, I'd honestly recommend using a foam applicator, but honestly, just for this video, I'm just going to do it on just the towel itself, not the pad. I mean, it's really up to you. So alright guys, so now we're going to go ahead and let that sit. Depending on your humidity, I go ahead and let that sit for about a minute to 5 minutes, depending on whatever works for you guys. I'm probably going to wait about 2 minutes and then wipe it off. Alrighty guys, so once it's been about a minute or two, or whenever it flashes and works for you, I like to make sure I get a little bit of like resistance when I'm wiping. Yeah, there we go. Like a little bit of pull. It shouldn't like feel oily. It should feel almost like a little sticky, a little grabby. I'll go ahead and clean the surrounding areas just in case. Just level off any remaining coating. Flip it over. And there you go. You have officially restored your headlight. Let's go ahead and show you how that works over here. So as you can see guys, these are the results that we've gotten from the method that I've shown you guys in the video. So in this video, we showed you guys how to restore your headlights. We went ahead and started out with wiping everything down, sanding it down using 800 grit sandpaper, and then moving on to 1500 grit and then 3000. And then we went ahead and compounded everything down with our cutting compound. And then we went ahead and polished everything out to get results that were able to seal in with a ceramic coating. And then we got this. So we went ahead and turned this headlight from this into this. So please guys, if you guys like this type of content, like, comment, and sub for more. We'll see you guys soon.